we knew the story of Villisca. 8 people murdered in their beds, an axe left behind, a killer who vanished into the night. But then we went there. We walked through the house. We stood in those rooms, and we listened to what the people of Villisca still believe more than a century later. Was this the work of a powerful local man with a motive? Or was the killer a stranger traveling the rails, leaving murdered families behind him from town to town? Join us as we revisit the Villisca House with the Veritas Project. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the podcast, the Project Investigation Collaboration, brought to you by the Veritas Project. And as always, we are here with our gracious host and founder of the Veritas Project, Robert Wiki Bob Curtis.
Hello.
And I'm lead investigator Todd Boyer, and welcome to the podcast, everybody.
Yeah, welcome in.
Oh, so what's going on in your world? You just got back from vacation.
Yeah, we just got back from driving up to check out these sites. I started learning a new video editing program, so we'll have that in the future. If you guys on YouTube might notice a difference, that's because I got rid of my free program and got an actual good video editing program.
No, the other one wasn't bad. I mean,
No, it accomplished what we needed to.
Mm-hmm. So, my out of town thing was all right.
Nice.
Did all right. So, but here we are back finally.
Yeah.
On the regularly scheduled day after 3 weeks.
Right.
So, but here we are on Sunday morning once again. So, since Bob and Angie went to the Villisca Axe Murder House, there's a difference between reading about it, obviously, and actually going there.
Right.
And you guys got to go to the Lizzie Borden house,
right?
And you came back with a lot of really great information when you guys took that trip.
Yeah.
And we thought, well, now that you've been in those places and set foot in those places,
right?
We thought we'd take another look at it now that you've been there,
right? So it's what I thought it was, kind of going in. It's a tiny little farmhouse in a neighborhood. There's no, like, the next house is literally right next to it. It's like maybe 5 yards between the houses. Yeah. And they live on the corner. So there's
what, has it always been like that, or was it in the open? They've always been in town?
Yeah.
Wow.
And the church where the program was the night before is like maybe a block away. So it's not like they had made it seem like it was they lived in the rural, like, out in the middle of nowhere type. It's a city.
That adds a whole nother level, Bob, because our thing before was the fact that they, how does someone unalive a whole house full of people without waking somebody else up in the house? But now you're talking neighbors.
Right.
Why is nobody making, how can you unalive a whole house full of people and nobody make any kind of noise whatsoever? That's...
Yeah. And for there to be, well, there's two things. The crime scene was completely contaminated.
Right.
The neighbor lady went over to see why no one was up and why no one had fed the chickens or anything, like so then she fed the chickens and then went in the house, and then she's the one that found the scene. So then she told her husband, went down to the fire department or police department building and said, hey, we need everybody to come into this house because the whole family's dead. So
wow, that's wild.
And then in that time, between the time that the neighbor's husband came back and the police showed up, the entire town came through the house.
Oh, geez.
So it's possible that the townsfolk covered up the mirrors and covered up the windows, and they're the ones that did all that because they were in and out of the house. They tracked mud all over everywhere. At one point, too, one of the community ladies cleaned up a bunch of the blood off of the floor because she was afraid that it would stain the floors, and she knew how the mother took good care of the home and would be mortified if she knew that there was stains all over the floor. So she actually got a bucket and cleaned up some of the blood.
Wow. That just goes to show you the difference between, that time period and current day.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? People kind of know better now.
right.
Back then, obviously they didn't. So
And
that's wild.
the police came and took pictures and sketches and did everything that they need to do, and then they left with the bodies. And then the town people came back again and took all of the furniture and rugs out of the house and burned everything.
That's insane.
Yeah,
It's like that. I was trying to say that's absurd and that's insane at the
yeah.
same time because that's ridiculous. I mean, wow. Like,
I know. So when the when the state police got wind of it and they wanted to preserve elements of the crime scene like fabrics and, you know, rugs and things that they could have got footprints for, blood splatter evidence like that, all of it was burned by then.
so no wonder why there is zero evidence.
Yeah.
So that is so crazy. So you were telling me, um, so let's rehash this. Okay, so what we're talking about is the Villisca House in June 9th and 10th in 1912.
Mhm.
Josiah and Sarah Moore returned home from Children's Day program at their church. They were accompanied by their 4 children, and they also had some friends. Lena and Ina Stillinger were spending the night.
Yeah.
So sometime over the night, during the night, someone came in and unalived everyone in the house with an axe.
Mhm.
And then sat and had breakfast before they left in the morning.
Yeah.
So that's what we're talking about here, for the people who didn't catch our last podcast. So, and it's again one of those things that we said last week. How did they get away with a whole house full of people and not?
Yeah. And this
So,
house is tiny,
and
teeny
we
tiny.
we today are going to cover some of the theories behind who did it, and we're also going to compare it to the Saxtown murders that took place
Yeah, right here.
right close to us here.
Yeah.
So, and so, like Bob said, the house was teeny tiny. So that's what makes it strange. This wasn't a big house where you could easily disappear somewhere in the house. I mean, okay, if you had to compare it to the Cambry house, what are we talking about?
It's
The
about
same
the
size,
same.
about the same
Yeah,
size.
about the same
That
size as
is
the Cambry house.
wild. That is so wild. The Cambry house is small.
Yeah.
What would you say, like 30 by 40?
Yeah, maybe.
30 by 40, maybe 30 by 45, 2 stories,
Yeah.
if that big.
And it has a narrow staircase that goes up to the second story. And this when you go up to the second story, the staircase is in the middle of the child's bedroom up there. So there's literally a bed, and bed when you walk right up the stairs.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like there's no way
So
that
the whole
somebody.
top is kind of open.
Yeah. And then there's the other bedroom, the parents' bedroom is right behind the staircase.
Gotcha.
So I don't know how you would sneak around in that house.
And you figure
Especially,
it probably creaked and stuff too,
yeah, carrying an axe around with you.
right? That's
Because
just
I went through one of the theories is that the pastor hid in the other part of the attic
mhm.
where there's like an open like storage area in the attic, and it's pretty big. It's almost as big as the kitchen, without any of the walls in it. So it's that big. But I had to like turn sideways and like crouch down almost on my knees to get through the door.
Oh wow.
So like even though like people back then were smaller, as far as like stature, they could probably get it with the axe.
Now, people say, with it being such a small house, did the killer know the layout? What would you think of that?
I don't think you really had to because there's so much. The house is so small.
Right.
It's not like you could say like, "Well, you had to know." Like if it was like a palace or something,
Right. Right. You had to know where the bedrooms are.
Yeah, but I mean, this place, you're literally in one room, and you could see from the front door, you could see the entire layout of the whole ground floor of the building.
Well, that's wild.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know if I the whole pastor thing. The pastor turns out he was schizophrenic, and he had admitted to the murders, but then under cross examination from the state, not the local police,
Mhm.
he didn't know any of the facts
Oh, okay.
of
Because
any.
it said he confessed and then, like, recanted.
Yeah. And then when he went to trial the first time, he went to trial the first time for the murder of the family, and then the second time for the murder of the two children that weren't a part of the family.
Right,
And his story didn't hold water. Like they were like, well, all of these facts that he's saying in his statement don't match the crime scene. And then when when they mentally evaluated him at the hospital, they were like, yeah, he's delusional. Like he doesn't know what he's talking about. So I don't think that theory holds any water. And as far as them doing anything like in the house that would have upset the community, you know what I mean? Like I don't see that either, because the father was like a big contributor to the church. He was a big person in the town, you know what I mean? Because he owned his own business, and he was, contributing a lot to the community.
right.
So I don't see that. I don't see that either. So yeah, the Frank Jones, the senator, that whole story kind of makes sense to me, because like the father of the children, he worked for
So,
Mr. Jones.
let's touch on that real quick. So, one of the big theories is Frank Jones, senator, was the guy that came in and did it. Or actually, excuse
He
me, he
paid.
hired someone to
Yeah.
come in and do it. So that's the biggest theory out there right now. So go ahead and
Yeah, he owned a farm implement business, and they sold like everything, tractors, cars, anything with a motor in it. And the father of this family moved and took his own business, and he
mhm.
bought the building directly across the street from Mr. Jones, and he actually took their biggest contract with him when he left. He took John Deere.
I was gonna say, wasn't it John Deere?
Yeah,
I think you
so he
mentioned that
became the
earlier.
the John Deere dealership for like this county, and it really made that senator upset.
Right. So that's a big thing, you know. They believe that so Wilkerson was the agent in charge of investigating. He was
Yeah,
an investigator. He believed that Jones hired a guy named Mansfield
right,
to come in and handle business because of that dispute. You know, obviously, you know, money will make people do crazy things, you know what I mean?
right.
So that's the thing. Did he come in and have him whack this whole family? You know, that's the question.
And the whole thing about the Blackie Mansfield alibi doesn't hold any water to me, because the senator has enough influence that he could have manufactured that backstory.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what they always say. Well, he couldn't have done it because he was on the payroll of a company in Illinois.
Right.
Like, do you hear yourself talk? Like, does that make any sense to
Right. He
you?
still could have been up there. It just, you know,
Right.
so that's the one theory. And that's the theory that a lot of people are going with up in that area.
Yeah.
It was what you were saying. That's the
Right.
theory people believe is that, you know, he was hired. So I noticed everybody probably noticed Bob's hat's a little different today. Bob got him a train conductor hat this week, and Bob is wearing that hat because we wanted to compare the Saxtown murder with this murder because
Yeah.
there is a lot of similarities.
Yeah. And
Um,
I haven't heard anybody make that comparison before, really, because I investigated both of these places.
right.
So that's how I made the connection, because there's the one thing that got me about the two that are similar is that in the Saxtown murders, there was an axe cut on the wall
Hmm.
where the whoever was swinging the axe drew the axe back and scraped the wall. And in this murder, there's the same mark on the wall.
Hmm.
where the person drew the axe back and scraped the wall. And they actually in this one they actually preserved that section of the wall. They cut the wallpaper out around it so you can see
Oh, wow.
where
That's
the axe
wild.
actually hit the wall. But in the Saxtown murders, that house is gone. So
Right.
they just rebuilt. The house was full of termites and stuff. So they
Yeah, I
just
think you said the Eckerts bought it, which
yeah
the Eckerts around, if anyone is from the St. Louis area, you'll know that Eckerts is a huge orchard family.
yeah
Like they own multiple orchards in the area, and so very prominent family.
yeah, and they rebuilt the house. So it's not like they just tore it down and built another house. Like they
Right.
rebuilt that house. So the layout is the same, the floor plan is the same.
So basically what we're going at here is that there was a lot of this traveling railroad murder
Right.
theory going on in the United States because like Bob said last week, nobody'd be like, "Oh, nobody in our town could do this."
Right,
You know
right,
what I
right.
mean? Like
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was that I know everybody in my town. Everybody's fantastic,
Yeah.
you know. So, in the early 20th century that railroads provided enormous mobility.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of train hopping and trains just taking people everywhere. So strangers arriving by train wouldn't attract any kind of
No,
attention.
not at all.
So someone could commit a crime and be dozens or hundreds of miles away in a matter of a day.
Yeah.
You know, so and also obviously back then you didn't have a lot of flow of information like we have now, where we can just look anything up from anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
You know, that's a lot of people disappeared back then as far as they changed their name. They became a whole new person because records weren't something that was
Yeah.
readily available to everyone. So you could literally unalive somebody 200 miles here, and then unalive somebody here, and they'd never put the two together.
Yeah.
So,
And at this time too, they were still like a horse-based type travel. So if you think about it, you could build an alibi by saying like, well, how could I have been there, at this time when I was 2 hours away at this other place? Well, yeah, you could just jump onto the side of the train and just ride it into the next county and jump off, and then to everyone there, it would look like that's a valid, alibi. Like, well, how did he get from this other town to here in 10 minutes? Well, yeah, he was holding on to the side of the train.
right,
You know what I mean? So he just jumped on the train, rode it over to the new location, jumped off, and then made a scene,
right.
and then went to the bar or whatever. And
Well, the only problem is the difference in time is about 40 years.
yeah,
But I mean, if you're 18 and did one thing, and now you're 50, 50 something, you're
mhm,
still I'll be 53 next week.
yeah,
So you just turned 53. We're pretty spry for 50.
yeah, right, right.
So,
Well, and it's not like those two things are mutually exclusive either.
right.
There was a bunch of axe murders in the
In
Midwest
between.
in between those.
Yep.
Yeah, there's actually a page on Wikipedia that someone took the time to connect all the dots with those, and they go in little spurts where there's like 3 of them in the
Which
space of a year,
which
and then
happens with
yeah,
serial unalivers.
yeah,
They'll go quiet for a while and then they'll come back.
right, right.
They need to scratch that itch. I mean, literally, their brain tells them they need to do it. So on March 19th and 20th in 1874, the Stelzraid,
Stetzel Reed.
Stetzelreed
Yeah.
household near Millstadt, Illinois, was massacred. Now, Millstadt to us is literally 5 miles south, 5 miles east.
Yeah.
Is how far Millstadt is from us, roughly.
Yeah, you could be there in
You could be there in 15 minutes.
15 minutes at the most.
So now 5 members of that family were taken out, same way, axe. Fritz, Anna, and their 2 young children, and Fritz's father were
Yeah.
at the house, and same thing happened. Overnight, someone came in, ransacked the house, and basically disappeared into nowhere.
Right.
So, like I said, it's a 38-year difference, but the comparisons are rural Midwestern town, right?
Yeah.
And a small Midwestern town.
Yeah.
So, entire household wiped out. including the children. Uh, both were was from an axe. Both in a family home setting. Both have multiple suspects. Local feuds, motives considered. You know, investigations became chaotic. Um, in both cases, the community divided. So they are very, very,
Very similar.
very similar
Yeah.
in the cases. So, you know, is that something that we could possibly look at?
Yeah.
Now, you said you believe that the senator theory yourself.
Yeah, I believe that's valid. And the reason why I'd say that is because I think that the Blackie guy, I believe that he's the one that was committing these crimes, and that senator knew that. You know what I
Really?
mean? Because he probably had business dealings with this person. So in my opinion, is he either paid that person to do it or he kind of set it up
Right.
so
Well,
that
he was even suspected in some of these other
yeah,
axe murders.
right,
So he was a suspect. Nothing ever became of it though,
no,
because obviously nobody ever had evidence. Whoever it was, especially in the case of the Villisca house, that was cold blooded, like handled everything and then sat down and had something to eat.
yeah.
You know, that is, I went in and handled business. My frenzy is over. I'm going to chill out and have some breakfast, and then I'm going to roll out of here.
Well, that's what
So,
leads me to believe that it was a professional hit, is because like the guy did his deed and then hung out for a couple of hours to make sure that there was no, you know what I mean? There was no resurrection that like, you know what I'm saying? Like somebody didn't live through the attack and
right.
you know what I mean? So he went, made himself breakfast, went back, checked all of them, make sure that they were actually gone and then bumped out.
So you're going with the senator.
That's what I think. Yeah.
That's
I think he paid the other guy to do it.
Now, do you think, Pod, that this other guy could possibly be, the Saxtown murderer
I
too?
would believe so. This it's so similar that like the kill and the Stetzel Reed family was well known to keep gold coins in the house. Like he got paid in $20 gold pieces, so everybody in the community knew that he had like their whole life savings basically in the house in gold.
Right.
So you know what I mean? That's motive enough.
Right. And then the whole business dealings, if you're losing, one of your biggest contracts, John Deere,
Yeah, yeah.
this is a good reason to
To make an
handle some
example,
business. Yeah.
right?
This is going to be,
But there were so many of these train traveling murders going on. And while we were there at the Villisca house, I could tell you the train came by like maybe 5 times while we were there.
wow. So, I mean, obviously trains would have ran different back in the day, but if it's a prominent train track,
Yeah.
so, I mean, there's still the possibility Bob's going with, the
Yeah, I think
professional hit.
it was probably the senator that paid the Blackie whatever guy to do it.
Wilkinson, I believe his
Yeah.
name.
No, that
Oh, that was the investigator.
was the investigator, yeah.
Let's go back here, because what we talked about last week, and since Bob actually got out there and actually saw it, he got a lot more information, because obviously it's a historical site, it's a
Yeah.
museum. You can go in there and there's a lot of information there. And if you saw last week's podcast, Bob waited until they got out there
Yeah.
to do the podcast so he could add a bunch of the pictures and stuff to the podcast. And you can see just how small the place is.
Yeah, it's tiny.
It's a
It is a
little
little bitty
place.
house. Like
It,
we live here in a tiny home and this house is bigger
really.
than that place is. Yeah.
I mean, you've got one floor, but
Yeah.
yeah, I saw the pictures. I was like, when I saw the original pictures of the outside of the house, and I was like, wait a minute, that's in town.
Yeah,
Like
it
I
is.
I was fully expecting this to be out in the middle of nowhere,
Yeah.
and it is right in the middle of town.
Well, the way that the Ghost Adventures filmed it too, they did like some drone flyovers, to like make it look like it's more in a rural setting than
Right,
it really is. Because as soon as we got off the highway, I was like, this looks just like Collinsville or Columbia or something. You know what
right.
I mean? Like it looks like a small
Small town
town.
America.
Yeah. And then when you get out to like where the actual house is, there's a nursing home right behind it.
Mm,
Like right across the street. And then this house is on the corner, but it's in the corner of the neighborhood. And there's like this little bitty town, it's like maybe a mile by like 2 miles of the
Wow.
town, and it has 5 churches.
Sounds like Valmeyer
There's
back in the
like
day.
there is a huge church on the street corner of every intersection.
Well, girl, I mean, I don't know if you remember Valmeyer from way back, but they had at least 3 churches in a population 800 town.
Right.
You had the Baptist church, you had the Catholic church, and then you had the Lutheran church. So you
Yeah.
had 3 churches in a
So
population 800 town.
this town has some great big brick
Wow.
churches on, so it was a religious community, I would imagine. I bet there was probably no one in this town that did not go to some form of church.
Right. So we're going to conclude this with the theory. Our theory is that Senator Jones paid William Blackie Mansfield. I mean, that's going to be
That's how I
what
feel
we
about it.
think. We think the axe murders, the Saxtown axe murders, that's a 40-year difference. That's a long time.
Yeah.
But that was a prominent thing back then, was to unalive people with an axe, with people running the railroads. So,
Yeah.
but
Oh, and somebody brought up last time because I said Roachtown.
mhm,
Roachtown's what Saxtown is called now. The town of Saxtown doesn't exist anymore. Now it's called Roachtown. It's on Roachtown Road. So it's like it used to be like south
right.
was Saxtown, and then they disincorporated that and moved it into another township, and then this part became Millstadt.
Mhm.
So it's like
Right in the
it's called Roachtown now because that's the road that runs through there, but it used to be called Saxtown. So that's why in the last episode people were saying like, "Well, is it called Roachtown or Saxtown?" Like, well, it's both really because
it was Saxtown
historically it's
originally,
called
yeah.
Saxtown, but now today it's called Roachtown.
So, thank you guys for joining us on our revisit. Now that we have a lot more information on that, and now that Bob and Angie have actually set foot on the property
Yeah.
and actually got to see, and something you and I had talked about when you guys went out to the to Salem,
Yeah, the Lizzie Borden
the
house.
Lizzie Borden house,
Yeah.
about how small it was
Yeah.
and what it felt like to stand, and you knew that this person was standing right there,
Yeah.
or that person was standing right there, to have that feeling. Do you think you could get away with like a whole house full of people?
That's the thing that always sticks with me. Like we talked about last time with the Amityville horror and this, how could you kill that many people with a blunt object and have no one wake up? You know what I mean?
I
Like
mean,
you
even
would
if the axe was sharp, you know what I mean? Even if it was a
well,
very sharp axe.
according to the crime scene that he used the blunt end of the axe, not the
Oh,
sharp
so he
end.
just whacked people
Yeah.
out. So they probably didn't even make a noise when he whacked them, but you'd think they'd move or something.
Well, the two little girls were in bed together. They were laying in the twin bed together. You know what I mean? So the one
Yeah.
was right next to the other one.
Yeah. So
The
it's
only
horrific to even think about, to try to fathom that. You know what I mean?
only the wife was killed with the blade of the axe.
Hmm.
And they think that he stopped after that because it got stuck.
Wow.
So everyone else was unalived with the blunt end of the axe after that one.
Huh. I wonder if he started with her
Yeah,
and then just
that's
switched
what they
up.
think.
That's wild. Another twist to the case. So thank you guys for joining us on our revisit to the Villisca house. We appreciate you guys coming in and hanging out with us on the TT, and we appreciate your guys' continued support on the podcast. If you want to chat with us, go look us up on Discord, the Veritas Project on Discord. If you want to get in on the postcards, and now my brain, I had it in my brain and I can't think of it. Patreon. Thank you. The $0 membership on Patreon gets you in the end of the podcast, which I've noticed we've been getting more and more Patreon people at the end there, which is awful nice.
Yeah.
But if you want to become a $5 a month member, we send you a custom postcard every month signed by Bob and I. Angie writes you a nice note because Bob and I, we're not creative and have horrible handwriting. So, Angie writes you a nice note and we send it out to you in a Veritas green envelope. And we just lost a video. Okay.
There you go.
All right. I'm going to pause this. We'll re-keyframe it. There we go. All right. 3. Well, if you just saw a jump in the recording, it's because the camera overheated and just shut down on us. So
Yeah.
as we were closing out,
Without any warning.
any warning, no heat warning, the camera just went down. So, if you want to talk to us, catch us on Discord. If you want to get on the Patreon at the 0 level member, we'll add you to the slide at the end of the credits, which I've noticed we've gotten a few more people on that slide.
Yeah.
If you want to join us at the $5 level, you get a postcard. Bob and I sign it. Angie writes you a nice note, and Angie designs all the postcards. She uses previous thumbnails, makes them a little more cartoonish and fun. And we'll send you out that postcard near the beginning of the month. Bob and I sign them towards the beginning of the month. And then if you want to support us, check us out on Printify. Go out there, get your sticker, put it on your car, let everybody know, or get your T-shirt. Make people go, "Oh, who's that? What do you got going on there?" So, so let's see, Printify. Oh, don't forget our partnership with Dubby.
Yeah.
If you like energy drinks, Dubby is a cleaner alternative to energy drinks. They use the good type of vitamin B, which is always a big thing for me. Because the bad vitamin B is actually a cyanide derivative, so I prefer not to put cyanide in my body. But yeah, Dubby, our partnership with Dubby right here. Boop. Use keyword whole truth, all one word, gets you 10% off, and it's less than a normal energy drink. It's about $1 a drink is what it comes out to, compared to $2 or $3. And if you like the fizz, Bob uses a little cheat. He just uses carbonated water to mix it up.
Soda in there, it tastes just like Monster.
Yep. So there you go. Get that Dubby energy drink. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Check us out on all the other social medias. We're out there on everything. We do have a couple of very viral videos on the TikTok, and hopefully we'll get some viral videos elsewhere. We do have a huge following on the Instagram.
Yeah.
Go check us out there. I think we're over 20,000 on TikTok and over 24,000 on Insta.
I don't know.
Something like that. It was a bunch.
It was a bunch.
So, thank you again for joining us, everybody. On behalf of Bob, Angie, Robin, and myself, we appreciate all the support you guys give, and hopefully we'll be looking for that live investigation coming up here in the next couple months.
Yeah.
And, once again, thank you for all the support, and remember,
stay curious
and find the truth, and we'll catch you guys next time. Bye, everybody.
See ya.